This is the Horse Radio Network.
This is episode 863 of Horse Tip Daily. A different horse tip, a different equine topic, a different equestrian expert every day. Horse Tip Daily brings the world of equine knowledge to you, one day at a time. Greetings, horse people. Coach Jen here, and thanks for tuning in to Horse Tip Daily. Today's tip is an excerpt from thehorse.com's weekly horse health report on the Horses in the Morning show. The Hit'em crew is joined by Horse.com digital editor Michelle Anderson and Dr. Jones from Florida Veterinary Equine Service to talk about bringing a new horse with an unknown health history onto your property. And we'll get right to our tip after this important message from StatelineTack.com. When the weather forecast calls for wind, rain, bone-chilling temperatures, or snow, look no further than StatelineTack.com to make sure your barn time is warm, dry, and stylish. StatelineTack.com has jackets and vests that keep you warm and dry from afternoon hacks in New England to break of dawn schooling sessions in Wellington. They also carry a wide selection of toasty warm breeches for schooling ring or show ring. They even have waterproof breeches for those days when Mother Nature is at her worst. And StatelineTack.com knows there's nothing more satisfying than having warm, dry feet at the barn. So they have beautiful winter boots for showing, weather-busting paddock boots for on the horse or off, and lots of rubber boots for mucking about. Surf over to StatelineTack.com today and choose from your favorite brands like Ariat, Debonair, Dublin, Mountain Horse, Carrots, Tough Rider, and many, many more. StatelineTack.com.
Really long drive, and I thought if I was going to make the drive, I only wanted to make it once. So,
well, whatever. Listen, I read your blog post on thehorse.com, and your blog post is like, oh, well, I didn't need to buy a horse. I somehow ended up with a horse. Whatever, girlfriend. You need to buy that horse. Don't lie to horse people, okay? You can lie to your mama. You can lie to your husband. You cannot lie to us.
You know, the last thing I needed to do was to buy a 2-year-old. And so, and I took my trainer with me, too. My trainer is my good friend, and I was like, do you want to go on this adventure? And she's always up for an adventure, so we went out. And I thought she'd see her and go, nah, she's okay. And she goes, oh, she's cute. I'm like, oh, no. Now I have to buy her.
The only thing worse than the person who's going with you to buy the horse, the person who's going to buy the horse, is the person that's not buying it that wants you to have it.
Yeah.
So,
you
yeah,
get
you're
that
in
horse.
trouble.
Yeah.
Oh, you should get that horse. She is so cute. She is so talented. Wow, you should really. You see, come on. I keep telling you the horse.
It is fun to be the one not making the commitment, huh?
Exactly.
But Dr. Jones, so today I wanted to talk about what you do when you get a horse, and especially a young horse like mine, where maybe you don't have a full history on the horse, a health history, about bringing the horse into your own herd and protecting your own horse, and where you start from if you're kind of starting from scratch, or you think you're starting from scratch.
Right. May I point out, just before you ask me the first question, that a lot of these questions would be answered if a pre-purchase exam was done by a veterinarian on the animal prior to purchase.
No pre-purchase happened. Yeah, that's my vet was like, so should I come look at her now after you bought her?
Yeah.
Busted.
That's the problem with the online horse buying, yes. There's a lot of post-buying exams. I don't know what to call those. They're not pre-purchase. I guess they're post-purchase. Or insanity checks, maybe? I'm not sure.
Yeah. So, yes, listeners of Horses in the Morning and readers of The Horse and thehorse.com, do not follow my example. But sometimes when a deal's made, that's how you make a deal. But that's how I made my deal.
How's your brain?
So what could be wrong with the 2-year-old? Anyway, okay.
Oh my.
Okay, so you bring a horse like my little girl home, and what concerns do you have about protecting the rest of your horses? You know, like I have 2.25 acres. How do I do a quarantine? How do I protect my other horses from this horse that, you know, has been at a place that I don't know what her full history is?
Yeah, you are kind of in a little bit of a dilemma with such small property with quarantining that horse. And that is the very first thing you should think about is what are you bringing home to your own healthy horses? Mm-hmm. Granted, you've protected your horses with everything you possibly can, but there's still, everything's not 100% anymore in life. So 35 feet is a recommended quarantine for horses. So if you have what we call a welcome barn that sits out in a paddock by itself, and that paddock doesn't go nose to nose to your other horses, you're good. But if you have close contact, you're just going to have to do the best you can. That horse is last to be fed, last to have its stall cleaned, you know, everything like that, and wash up in between touching that horse and others. So right after that, you need to do some biosecurity for your other healthy horses.
And so what are some of the signs you should be looking for in a new horse or young horse? And I'm talking about like sale horses too. You know, lots of times you go to an auction and you buy a young horse at an auction, you don't know the full history. What are some signs that maybe that horse has some health issues?
Well, a lot of them, I get the comment that they were so sweet and they're so docile and easygoing for a 2-year-old. Can you believe it? What an easygoing horse. And that could be your first sheer sign that you might have some worm damage or some worms going on or some other disease process going on in this lack of nutrition type disease process going on in this horse, that they are just unthrifty because they have no energy. And so that always worries me when I hear a client say, oh, they're a 2-year-old and they're doing so well, you know, with easy, you know, getting along with me and leading and I put the saddle on and whatever. As soon as they start putting some groceries to those horses, sometimes they get a little bit rambunctious or a little more energy than they used to. And then the next comment is they were drugged when they sold them to them. Mm. So that's the first thing I always think of is maybe they're a little bit sick when you bring them home. And it could be more diet or it could be worms. Those are the two things I think of, number one. So a dewormer, I always tell clients it doesn't hurt to go ahead and deworm them again on something that's very easy, light on their intestinal tract. The pyrantals are really slow kill, easy going on the digestive tract, that you could go ahead and feed them that and help kill out some of the worms, and then come back about 4 to 6 weeks later and hit them with an ivermectin type to finish off the rest of the worms. You can also have a fecal test done by the veterinarian on your post-purchase exam or insanity check exam, whatever you want to call it. That's the thing I kind of look for, because those parasites can pass to your horses, and you want to try to keep them segregated if you can. Again, small acreage farms, a lot of people put them right out with the rest of their horses, and they'll be passing some worms onto those other horses in the pastures.
What about things like a runny nose or goopy eyes? When you're hauling a horse especially, is that normal to see those things, or would those be caution signs?
Well, those are possible caution signs. They could be just from the haul, the wind in their eyes type thing, depends on the type of trailer you have. But the vaccine history, you'd like to say that everybody's above board, and every person that sells a horse that might be in a little bit of financial trouble doesn't want to look like a bad owner. So you have to consider that these people are trying their best. They just might not have done everything they should have prior to selling the horse, because they might have been needing to save some money. And so vaccinating would probably be a good idea as long as the horse wasn't really vaccinated in the last couple of weeks. So if they say, oh, yeah, here's the record, then that's a good sign. But if they are saying it's been a couple months, you might want to go ahead and bump those vaccines and boost their immune system when they get to your place. Maybe not the first day or two because they're under a little bit of stress, but definitely within the probably first week they're there.
Yeah. And, we get lots of questions from people who are getting rescue horses and are in a situation where they don't know their history. is it okay to go ahead and do a full deworming and full vaccinations right away when you get those horses home, or do you need to spread those out?
I recommend spreading them out. So the vaccines are a concern, but I always put them, believe it or not, put them a little secondary to the parasites and the diet change you're going to do, because both of those are detrimental to their life. Vaccines are, encephalitis, of course, is detrimental to their life, and West Nile, but the ones you're most concerned about with the other horses is the herpes and the flu that will pass from horse to horse. So if you have them isolated, you could wait another week or so. There's a latent period of 21 days on those, so you've got 3 weeks that you really should keep them separated. Up to a month is preferred. And so if you vaccinate them a week after they've come in, their immune system is more apt to accept a vaccine to beef up their immune system, because under stress your immune system doesn't work very well. We all know that when we're stressed out with work, bills, school, whatever it is in our life that creates stress, we definitely do not feel good. We come down with colds easier, that kind of thing. So the horse is going to be stressed out moving to a new environment. So I always tell clients, hold off for about a week or two before you vaccinate. Clients that are moving their horses, I had one just the other day. She came due. She's moving them across country, actually to Jamie's backyard. And they were due for their vaccines. And I told her, I said, I'd not vaccinate them 6 days before they get on this trailer in case they pop a fever or they get sore for that long haul. Wait till you get there, wait 2 weeks, and then go ahead and have them looked at. And that's what their plan is. So the dewormer, because you're spreading the eggs to the other horses, the nutrition, you don't want to abruptly change their grain if you can help it. If they give you no supply of grain or hay to take with you, you will have to slowly introduce what you're feeding the rest of your herd to help out this horse.
Okay. And so with my particular filly, I do know she was vaccinated in the spring, but that she didn't receive a West Nile vaccination. And she was in an area where they aren't concerned about it, or her owners weren't concerned about West Nile. But I am in my area, and it's fall, so should I go ahead and do that West Nile now, or should I wait until the spring when I do my spring exams?
The primary time we see West Nile cases are from July until October, so I would go ahead and give one now because there still is that chance. We have the whole month of October to go through. We get import horses from Europe that don't have the West Nile vaccine given to them. So we consider them what we call naive horses, meaning never experienced that immune response to the vaccine. So on naive horses, and that would include your new young one, is you want to give them a vaccination and then booster it 4 to 6 weeks later, and that will consider the initial series.
And then now that I have her home, are there any nutritional concerns that I should have about my 2-year-old?
Yeah. Even at 2, it would be good to have her teeth checked. You have the wolf teeth pulled, especially if you're thinking about starting to put a bridle in her mouth and play around with, some fun things you're going to do. But also, there can be some sharp enough points in the 2-year-old that might make them a little less able to chew. Any other horses, that I find to be the most common veterinary item in herd health care that is missed when people want to start selling horses, because they can maybe just do the vaccines themselves, or they can go ahead and get that done because the vet's out there. But to have the teeth done, it involves a little bit more time, maybe a little bit more money, and so that kind of gets pushed to the wayside. So definitely have their teeth looked at so that your nutrition that you're feeding them isn't going to break the bank for yourself, because you're feeding them to a horse that can't really chew it well to begin with. So having the vet do their teeth would be a recommendation as well within the first month of them being there.
Okay. Well, it sounds like I need to get my vet out.
Yeah, to do that post-purchase insanity check exam. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, after I make sure that she's halter broke, I will have the vet out.
Oh, dear God.
See, it's okay, though. It's okay if you're going in knowing that. See, actually, Michelle did it right, because she went in knowing that she could afford to lose all that money and the $5,000 in vet bills that were going to come after. She accepted that when she hooked up the trailer. Isn't that right, Michelle?
There is risk to things in life, and I am risk-averse. However,
hey, look, you get married, you got a 50% chance of it going bad, so that's a risk. Do you have him vetted? Maybe we should.
What a thought.
Well, I am a big believer in the pre-purchase exam. in this case, that's not the way the deal was going to be made. So,
where
horse people were a little crazy.
Where do you work again? I'm just checking.
Yeah. See, I obviously still have a lot to learn.
The one thing you can do today or tomorrow easily is you can grab a fresh fecal sample, take it into your vet, and drop it off and have them do a fecal on it, so you kind of know where you stand on your worming. Some of them may be loaded, and some might have very few. But that would be the easiest thing to do right off the bat. You can even do that when you're trailering that animal home, because they probably poop on the trailer, and then you can just grab it and take it over to the vet.
Yeah, and the fecal test won't traumatize her as much as everything else will.
Exactly.
Michelle, I, for one, am completely disappointed that you would dare do something so crazy as go look at a horse with a trailer attached to your truck. I would never do anything like that, ever.
Oh, I bet you never would. I bet you never brought home a horse without a vet check.
You know what? Listen, the drive was really far all the way to Tucson, and Edward was not going to walk home, so I had to take my trailer.
If you saw the dirt road that I drove down with my truck and trailer to this to see this filly, you would understand why I only wanted to drive the trip once.
I figure if you're going to drive all the way to drive several hours to go look at a horse, you might as well take your trailer, and if it doesn't work out, you can always shoot him.
I just didn't figure a 2-year-old would actually get in a trailer. Like, I thought I had that extra buffer. There's no way.
Hey,
There's no way.
Dr. Jones, have you heard this song before?
Green makes black and blue. Wouldn't ride that horse if I were you. It's like walking on a hot, tight wire. Dynamite too close to fire.
I just thought I'd say that, yeah.
Very good, Glenn.
Yes, thanks.
And
we love you, Michelle.
Thank you. I'm super excited about my little girl. Jamie, I'm going to have to send you a video. Jamie, you're going to watch this little filly move, and you're going to be like, oh, yeah, that's why she brought that little girl home.
No, listen, you're talking to the wrong person. Like, I love that you did that. I think it's fantastic. I think more power to you. It's your pony. You go for it, and just get that post-vet check so you don't get your other horses sick. I get it. Ask Glenn. Wait, hold on. Ask Glenn if he pre-purchased his new horse.
No, because the vet would have said, "Are you crazy? What? Not that filly's going to die on the trailer on the way home." But then again, we did discuss it that if he did die, at least he was going to die with some food in his mouth for a change. So.
I think there is a difference between not doing a pre-purchase because you don't know any better, don't have the experience with what can happen, and consciously making the decision to not make the pre-purchase exam when you know that that's the right thing to do. Because you're acting like a 13-year-old girl who falls in love with a horse when they're going to look at it for the first time.
He's so pretty. Oh, my God. I have to have it. I get it.
It's a rough crowd today. It's a rough crowd.
We love you,
Dr. Jones.
I'm sorry,
Dr. Jones. How hard is it when you have to say, I can't. This horse. These are the things that I found wrong with it in your pre-purchase.
I'm a very upfront person, which sometimes does not gel well with some clients. And the clients that like me being upfront, I have had for many years. But I just pretty much told a woman that the other day that was snickered into buying a 2-year-old stallion because you can make money off of them. And I walked in and saw these big grapefruit-sized joint effusions of the stifles, and they could hardly get a halter on them. And I said, you might have OCD in your stifles with those big grapefruits on the stifle. Now, granted, I couldn't even touch the stifle because he would kick. So I said, when he gets a bit more sedate, I'll put my very extensive digital x-ray machine there and take an x-ray of that, but you may be doing surgery on him and castrating him anyway because you don't want to pass on OCD.
Hey, so I have a question. How many people that we're going a little long here, but that's okay. How many people that you give them this laundry list of things, and basically you're in a way coming out and telling them not to buy the damn horse. How many actually do it? 50%?
More than 50% still purchase. My whole thing is I don't pass or fail, and I think a lot of veterinarians are getting away from that pass or fail terminology, is I provide them information that if they want to go back to the seller and say, these are things we found wrong, would you take less? because I'm going to have to spend money to fix these. That's what I recommend these people do, because they may be perfectly happy with giving Adequan on a regular basis, or doing joint injections, or having to do dentals a little bit more often because you got a slight overbite that causes some big problems. But so I don't really look into the people's ideas of why they're purchasing it. Could be bomb-proof for their 10-year-old, but has many problems. So there's more often people will purchase a horse that I would kind of shake my head and say, no way.
Yeah, emotion. There is emotion.
Even positive on a drug test. Shake my head. No way. And they still purchase. Yeah.
Oh, you're kidding. Oh, that's sad.
Great.
That's sad.
Hey, we got to wrap up here, guys. We have run out of time. Michelle Anderson, digital editor of thehorse.com. Michelle, we'll post a link on our Facebook page at Horses in the Morning to your article where people can go over and see your cute little baby. You knew you were going to get razzed for this, and you still brought it up today. So, so you're a brave woman. Brave woman. And, of course, we can find Dr. Jones at floridaequine.com. If you need her, if you want her to come out and tell you not to buy that horse and buy it anyway, she's the perfect vet for you at floridaequine.com. We'll see you guys.
And that just about takes care of it. To listen to more of the Horse.com's tips, just go to horsetipdaily.com and look for the Experts drop-down menu on the left. If you love listening to the Horses in the Morning gang, putting in their 2 cents on all things horse, you can tune in every weekday morning at horsesinthemorning.com for fascinating interviews, news stories from around the world, clever contests, and general horsey hijinks. You can have all of the Horse Radio Network shows with you wherever you go now with our new free app for iPhone and Android. Just go to your app store and search for Horse Radio Network. And don't forget to support our sponsors here on Horse Tip Daily because they do make these podcasts possible. This podcast has been brought to you through the generous support of StatelineTack.com. The Horse Radio Network and the Horse Radio Network hosts are not responsible for statements of guests or their opinions. Use your own judgment when listening to the tips provided by the experts on Horse Tip Daily.